Então, a gente tem um recado importante aqui, já que estamos falando sobre negócios hoje, vamos falar sobre receita previsível com o autor desse livro incrível, tá? Eu queria falar para vocês do Equity Mais. Equity Mais é uma imersão nossa de 3 dias. Eu queria compartilhar um pouquinho sobre os pilares que a gente ensina no Equity Mais, tá? Então, a gente tem o grande pilar de visão de mercado e negócios. Então, a gente fala sobre o Product Market Fit, sobre os 5 whys, né, os 5 porquês, Blue Ocean Tool, Business Model Canvas. A gente fala sobre outro pilar de vendas, a gente fala sobre outbound e inbound, né? A gente usa muito inbound aqui, né, Kaique?
Usa muito.
Nosso negócio foi construído em cima do modelo inbound, né? A gente tem métricas de quais são todas as métricas. Então, cara, ó, tem 12 métricas aqui, tá? Qual que é o seu peak, né? O perfil ideal de cliente, processos de vendas, você tem time, técnicas, perfil, você tem um outro pilar também, que é o pilar de branding e marketing. A gente fala de primal branding, copywriting, gatilhos mentais, assim, persona, um monte de coisa. A gente fala sobre customer experience, tem uma série de coisas dentro disso também. A gente fala de dados e growth, cara, assim, incrível. A gente vai falar de North Star Metric, Flywheel, uma série de indicadores importantes para growth. A gente fala de gestão e cultura, e a gente também tem um pilar sobre o empreendedor, que é um pilar mais, uma base mental, né, Kaique? Que a gente precisa sobreviver ao dia a dia, não é só indicador técnico, né?
Não, fora que é uma pressão pro cara quando tá lá, tem uma empresa gigante, muita gente depende.
I was like a financial advisor.
Oh yeah,
in
man,
Brazil.
that's a hard one.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
hard. It's a complex sale, right? But in Brazil, we had almost 500 financial advisors in all country. So nobody knew what was a financial advisor here.
Yeah, it's not many.
Not many. So in the States, everybody knows what is a
It's a
financial
huge
advisor.
industry.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's probably 500 financial advisors in one
Yes.
square mile of Los Angeles.
Yes, and here nobody knew it. So we didn't have to only sell, but to teach them what does it do and stuff. And I did almost 100 calls each day. Every day I was calling, and I did it like for maybe 3 years. And I got results, but it was very hard because I did like 100 calls, and I stayed all day calling only to talk maybe for 30 minutes or an hour tops with a good possible prospect to become a client maybe. And after I got some results, I started hiring some people, and I started to like cut in parts the process of the
divide it
selling.
up. Yep.
Dividing. So there was someone cold calling, and I called myself hot calling. So he cold called it, and I went to the meeting. So my day was only used in the best way possible, negotiating.
Yep.
And so this was how I grew. And then I had 50 financial advisors in the office. I sold this business and all this stuff. But as I grew using cold calling, and when I was reading your book, I, for the first time, read the term cold calling 2.0. It was like very different for me. What is the cold calling 2.0 exactly for you? What is the difference between this one and the cold calling 1.0?
Yeah. I think the difference is because when I started at Salesforce, I did some cold calling as well. And I'd done cold calling before. Actually, I sold ads for the school newspaper when I was at Stanford. And I had a painting business for a summer when I would knock on doors. And I did a couple of things. But I'd never thought about it as a system. Salesforce.com was the first time that I sat down and did cold calling that way. And, at that point, it didn't work for me. At least the traditional cold call. Cold calling does work, and it still works today. It just, you have to be the right market, there's a lot of conditions. For me, it didn't work. I didn't like it. So what I created was using email at the time, and mass email at the time, in executives to get responses. So for me, creating a system to get a lot of appointments every month without having to cold call was the idea of, I hated the term cold calling 2.0. I just couldn't think of a better one. Basically, like getting appointments
But it's easy to understand.
without having to cold call. Now, I did do a type of cold call I called mapping calls. Because in this case, again, I was selling to companies rather than individuals. And so a lot of times the hard part was finding the right person. So if you're selling to, IBM, who do you even call? Like, who do you even call? Because there might have, if you're selling to the VP of sales, there might be 20 VPs of sales.
Yes.
And so I would call in and could have ask around like, hey, who's the like a lost lamb? I'm just a bit lost. Like I'm trying to find, head of something or other. Like, and then I would get routed around. By the time I got referred to them, it wasn't cold anymore because it was like the CEO's assistant would be referring me to the CTO.
Mhm.
But I think what I'll try to do is say, look, is there a systematic way to get up quality appointments? And quality is more important than quantity. That was different than the way that people had done it blindly, which is doing lots of calls. It's like more in the past, and people still do this, which is, oh, calling's not working, do more calls. And today's version is emailing's not working, send more emails. We're only getting a 0.5% response rate, we'll send more. Like, come on, you got to stop back and rethink, how can we do something different so we're not just trying to do more of something that's not working?
You're asking me?
No, I'm just saying.
It was rhetorical, right?
Yeah, rhetorical. Yeah. I mean, I kind of went to my mind like, in parenting, what am I doing in parenting that's not working? Lots of things, lots and lots of things.
No, but I really understand you because this is something I hear like almost on a daily basis from a lot of companies, like send more emails, call more, work harder, arrive earlier, and all this stuff.
And I have a bit of a digression because you said work harder, right? So maybe I had a list of questions, maybe not. But the thing is, something has changed in the last couple of years with the pandemic. It was already going to change, but this just brought it forward, right? This technology's on this trend, which is only going to accelerate. Right? More apps, more content, more messages, more stuff. Our brains are struggling to keep up. The pandemic accelerated that because more went online and we're doing more stuff on the screen. So our brains, there's just more anxiety too. There's a lot of things kind of eating at our energy levels, our emotional energy levels, or our mental energy levels. And so I've noticed a lot of executives, and having been through this, are just like more tired than ever. Because there's also more responsibility. So it's not about even like physically moving, it's just this kind of emotional, mental load on us. And so energy, like to me, like tactics and strategy are important, but even more fundamental is kind of the emotional smarts of executives. I can read a book, but there's something different now, which is, okay, does this feel right? I'm not just thinking about it. Like I can mentally think of the right thing to do, but does it feel right? Do I have the energy to do this? Do I have the energy to create a good relationship with my team? Do I have the energy to create a good kind of real relationship with my customers? When you're tired and exhausted, think about this. Like when I go home, if I'm tired and exhausted, it's easy for me to snap at my kids. Or, I could say it to my wife, but then she'd bite my head off. But, it's easy. And I see that if my wife is tired, she'll snap. If I'm an employee, why would I want to work for a company when I go to a meeting with my manager and it feels like going to the dentist? If my manager or executive is tired and exhausted, it's like going to a dentist, right? Especially over Zoom calls. So to me, even more fundamentally now, which is new, it's always been there, but now it's even more important, is this idea of emotional smarts, kind of personal energy or executive. How do you take care of yourself? How do you take care of the team? How do you create relationships over Zoom, over digital relationships now that feel real? Because we can't really go back to in person as much. And everyone's kind of like busy, tired, exhausted.
Yeah, but you see,
adding more work isn't going to solve that.
You perfectly pointed to the problem. It's like, it's really a problem, I think. A lot of people I know are eternally exhausted. But how exactly
It's everybody with kids, right?
Usually, yes.
Yeah.
And usually they're on the low
Small
wage.
ones. Oh yeah,
small one.
That's a hard end.
But what may be the solution to not resolve all of that, but start to improve a little and become, from a company perspective, start to be less exhausted from time to time and work better, not only harder?
Yeah, and it's a great question. So I don't have a single answer, but I've got some ideas. I do some things that do work. I'll give you a couple. So one of them is, there's this weird thing in corporate culture, and I'm not as familiar with Brazil this way, but in the States, of a CEO feeling like, I need to appear clear and confident to my people, to my executives, so that they don't get scared, right?
Okay.
Because they're leaning on me to provide vision and direction.
You mean the leader showing
The confidence, right?
Confidence,
I know,
okay.
I know what we need to do. We're going to do it. And the team. And meanwhile, leaders get scared and have doubt and anxiety, and they're human. Like this, it's ridiculous to think that there's some leader who doesn't get nervous, scared, have self-doubt and anxiety. That's not true. That's an illusion. Like
so
what?
showing confidence. Okay, but,
So-
but by showing confidence, you mean showing people you know the way, you're leading the way, and this way is the way that will take us to where we want to
Well,
go.
I'm a leader. I
Okay.
want my team. I don't want my team to be scared.
Okay,
Even
because
though
if
we
they're
have-
scared, they are more exhausted and anxiety, and
they
those
might
things.
leave, and
Okay.
also I don't want to look weak to my team. Also, or to my investors.
Okay.
Right. So there's a lot of, but at the same time, the executives, they're like, okay, I need to show my CEO that I'm confident that I can do this. I can't show my weakness, that my own doubt, because I don't want them to lose faith in me. So it's kind of like both sides are lying to each other about the same thing, and like just wasting a lot of energy, kind of like the shell game. Now, look, you want to practice confidence, right? It's kind of, all right, I'm feeling uncertain, and especially if you're most people and executives are often in situations every day, like, or parents, right? I don't know what's going to happen today. I don't. Like, some problem can come out of the sky, and so there's this practice of self-confidence and belief, but it's when it goes too far where it's not being authentic. It's kind of like putting on a mask to help to change. And I'm scared that my team will get scared. So I think it's for leaders starting, and the higher the better, because they set the tone, is to start to say, look, I don't, just be more honest, open about